Located in northern China, Beijing is the capital city of the People's Republic of China and the political, cultural, and historical heart of the nation. For centuries, it has served as the center of imperial power, governance, and tradition, a role that continues today in a modern political context. This dual identity is powerfully reflected in The Last Emperor, which uses Beijing, particularly the Forbidden City, as a symbol of authority, isolation, and the slow erosion of absolute power. As the seat of both ancient emperors and the contemporary government, Beijing embodies the tension between permanence and change, making it a fitting backdrop for a story concerned with history, identity, and transformation. The Last Emperor was released in 1987 and directed by Italian filmmaker Bernardo Bertolucci. The Last Emperor follows the life of Puyi, played by John Lone, who is crowned Emperor of China as a young child and raised in isolation with a forbidden city, cut off from the outside world. As China undergoes massive political upheaval, the fall of the Qing dynasty, Japanese occupation, and the rise of communism, Puyi is gradually stripped of his power and identity. The film traces his transition from absolute ruler to political prisoner, and eventually to an ordinary citizen, emphasizing how history reshapes both nations and individuals. Supporting performances include Joan Chen as Empress Wenrong, Puyi's wife, whose life mirrors his emotional confinement, and Peter O'Toole as Reginald Johnston, the Emperor's Western tutor, who introduces Puyi to the outside world and modern ideas. So hey guys, we just landed yesterday and I want to talk a little bit about our experience in Beijing for getting from the airport to the hotel. So the taxi price is about 47.5 yuan. The weather is very much like Toronto right now. It's like fall weather. Right now it's around October, so the range I'd say is 13 to 20 degrees Celsius. I'm not gonna lie, the traffic, like when getting from the airport to the hotel was pretty miserable because it was rush hour, and rush hour in Beijing is like 2 times worse than Toronto and it's probably just even to LA. The distance and time are about 10 kilometers and the taxi ride was about 40 minutes. And yeah, that's about it. If you guys wanted to know about what our experience was like getting from the airport and first landing. Here in a historic neighborhood in Beijing, and pretty much the reason why I wanted to stop here and talk about this area is because there's a scene in The Last Emperor at the end where they're pretty much parading, doing like a CCP parade, and you know, it's Puyi seeing how much China changed. It was shot in a neighborhood just like this. It probably wasn't this exact neighborhood, but it was just like this, and because it was shot in the 80s, there's no guarantee that neighborhood still exists, but this one does. And sadly, we actually saw some signs that they're going to be tearing some stuff down. Beijing is a city where history and power sit side by side. Ancient palaces, imperial walls, and ceremonial spaces coexist with modern streets and rising skylines, creating a constant tension between the past and the present. Now let's try Beijing's signature dish. So this is the beautiful Peking duck. We're gonna start from right with the wrapper, put it on the plate. You take some duck. I'm using the common chopsticks, of course, because it's, you know, when they provide it, it's always good manners to use it. 1, there's not enough meat on these pieces, to be honest. 2, and then you dip some celery into the sauce. Excuse my horrible chopstick skills. And then you wrap it. Just take all the pieces, wrap it. It's almost like, sort of like an Asian taco, with an obviously different flavor profile. And then I'll take the first bites. Here we go. That's actually amazing. It's like a mix of sweet, sour, and savory, all at once. You know, the inside is crispy, and the inside is nice and moist and tender. The meat is very, very juicy, very, very fatty, very, very plump. The celery adds like a certain balance to the flavors of the duck, and the sauce really, really adds a nice kick to the whole dish. What I rate this out of 10 is a 9.
Okay, so here we have this dessert. It is shaped like the Temple of Heaven, the same place that we are right now at. So I'm not sure what exactly it's made of, so judging by the color, I think it sounds like matcha, right? So let's try what it is. So I think it's similar to panna cotta, you know, Italian dessert. So I think it's something similar to that. Inside we have more matcha filling, and it's really, really nice, really creamy. It's not too sweet, it feels really light. And overall, I think it's a super nice dessert, and I give it around a 9 out of 10 for sure.
So after talking about the film, we'll compare it with our experience on location.
Okay, right now we're walking to the Forbidden City.
Yes.
Let's go.
We're at the very, very gates. That's the whole film of The Last Emperor was filmed in.
Yeah, so there are the gates. They look so nice.
Wait, how old is this palace?
Yeah, how old is it? 400 years. 400 years, that's crazy.
Yo, what's up guys? Now we're finally in Beijing, you know? Are you happy?
Very happy.
Yeah, of course we are all happy. So today we have to like explore the Forbidden City and it related to the film, The Last Emperor. Are you guys ready?
Let's go.
Yes, ready.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Let's go guys.
A key area where real history and cinema strongly overlap in The Last Emperor is Puyi's long confinement within the Forbidden City. Historically, Puyi remained inside the palace for years after his abdication in 1912, living in a strange limbo where he had lost political power but was still treated as an emperor within the palace walls. The film closely reflects this reality, portraying the Forbidden City as both a symbol of authority and a prison where Puyi is physically protected yet emotionally and intellectually isolated from the outside world. In real life, this confinement limited his understanding of political change and modern society, leaving him unprepared for the forces that would later exploit him.
Okay.
So, if you watched the movie, you might remember that this is actually the main imperial palace, and this is the main imperial courtyard. This is probably where the throne room is, and this is probably where like Puyi, like where his living quarters are as well, where like all the emperors would live. And this is probably also where a decent amount of the scenes in the film was filmed.
And also this exact spot, when little Puyi was coronated, all the eunuchs kneeled down to him on this exact spot, which is really cool.
So we are here in the city wall. This exact gate was used in the film. And in the scene, the Emperor Puyi is actually trying to leave the city, but the guards are trying to stop him because technically at the time, he was the last emperor, and the only place in China that he was actually emperor of was the city.
Yeah, pretty much. And he was never allowed to go outside of the city.
The filming of The Last Emperor inside Beijing's Forbidden City was unprecedented. It was the first time a Western film production was ever granted permission to shoot within the palace complex, a site that had long been closed to foreign filmmakers. Director Bernardo Bertolucci worked closely with the Chinese officials, historians, and cultural advisors, and the script was reviewed and approved to ensure historical and political sensitivity. The came at a moment when China was becoming more open to cultural exchange within the West, and the story of Puyi ending his re-education and reintegration into society aligned with the themes that the government was trying to support. We're in the main square of the Forbidden City, and right now we're at the main palace area, and so pretty much there's a line on the floor, and it represents the perfect symmetry of this court. And the reason why it's important is because like throughout like traditional Chinese art and Chinese history, symmetry is something that's very, very valued and important to the culture.
Yes, and also one interesting fact. So if you would take the Forbidden City and fold it using this line as a guideline, it will match perfectly.
So today let's see all of the Forbidden City. We relate to the film, we explore a lot, and we are actually so tired. We walk around like 10,000 steps already.
And we've only like experienced probably like only 20% of the city.
Yeah, like
Like-
Purpose is so huge.
And we've been here for like maybe like 3 hours already.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's actually so.
Yeah,
so
around
far.
that time. And I just can't believe how beautiful this place is. So imagine Puyi living this, like his whole childhood here and
It must have been like
experiencing-
a dream, but at the same time, I can imagine also being trapped in a place like this, and he probably did get sick of it.
Yeah,
too.
probably, yeah.
There's so much art, there's so much history behind this. Like every step, every stone tile, like was put down here like by hand, like 600 years ago.
All right, I will see you guys later. Bye bye.